Okay, class, today we're going to learn about animals on the farm and the sounds they make. Who knows what a duck says? Addie.
A duck says quack, quack.
Very good. Who knows what a cow says? Susie.
A cow says moo.
Excellent. Now, who can tell me what a pig says? Little Johnny. A pig says, "Get up against the wall, put your hands on your head, you black motherfucker!"
Huh? Want to go sleep on camera? Yeah, I'll put you to sleep on camera right fucking now. Well, let's beat it then, motherfucker.
What you gonna laugh or what you gonna laugh?
You gonna sit there
Don't
and
do
talk
it.
shit?
Don't do it.
He's gonna beat my ass, but he's gonna sit there and stare and talk about beating my fucking ass. Yeah, fuck you.
Fuck you.
Fucking pussy boy, yeah, pussy. You're the one that's the pussy. Okay? Who got out of their car talking big shit? They're gonna beat my fucking ass. Beat my fucking ass, motherfucker. Come on. Beat my fucking ass. I'm telling you right now. Okay?
He's not gonna go
Yeah.
to jail. No.
He's a fucking pussy motherfucker is what he is. I beat motherfuckers like you in the fucking Marines like you was a fucking piece of fucking shit. That's all you are is fucking this mouth. Yeah, and this right here is going to go right fucking through it, motherfucker. Yeah, right. You don't think. Yeah, you think. Come on, take a shot.
Shut up.
Right there it is. Take a shot. Yeah, fuck you, nigger.
No, oh, wait. Get in your car, get in your car. Yeah, you should have never said nigger. You should have never said nigger. You should have never said that.
Umbrella. She's up. Whole nother level of shit you can't even understand.
What is good, my people? We are live back again with another episode of The Forecast. Now, it's important for us to understand the nature of our enemy. We have to understand that in reality, they are cowards. They won't dare try to attack you unless they're in a group or they have weapons or both. Or they simply try to go after weak targets. They try to attack women and children or try to attack our elderly. The only way they build up the courage to do the things they do is by feeding off of our fear. When the KKK was first created in 1866, they started off as a secret organization, and their main goal was to keep black people from getting any rights. Now, when they first started, they would ride around at night trying to scare any black people they could. And then when they saw there were no repercussions for what they were doing, they started to become more and more violent. They started burning down our homes, our churches, our schools. They started killing men, women, and children. There was one black woman in Tennessee that spoke out against the Klan. So they went to this woman's house in the middle of the night, pulled her out of her home. Then they stripped her naked, tied her to a log, and then started whipping her until they got tired. And then after they got bored of whipping her, they did the same thing to her daughters. Pulled them outside, stripped them naked, and then whipped them too. Now there's no way we should be allowing people to come in our communities and do that to us. We gotta understand how much the KKK was really cowards. Then maybe we wouldn't have as hard of a time standing up to them as we do. These white boys only attack people at nighttime. They put bags over their head to cover their face. Or they would shoot at people while they were hiding in bushes. Very rarely would they go one-on-one in a fair one because they know what would happen. But if somebody isn't going to follow the rules when they attack you, you don't have to follow the rules when you defend yourself. Too many of us talking about we're scared to die or we don't want any trouble when they're killing us anyway if we don't do anything. You might as well fight for your freedom and the freedom of your children. The only way they've ever been able to compete with us is by putting us at a disadvantage, and we allowed them to do it. But if we ever realize most of what they do is out of white fear, it'll help us get over our fear. And understand they were cowards then and they're cowards now. In Maryland, a young 22-year-old brother, Tyreke Hudson, was shot to death by his neighbor. So let's see what happened to this young brother, Tyreke Hudson.
Anne Arundel County Police back at the Colonial Square Apartments in Glen Burnie, collecting more evidence following Monday's murder of 22-year-old Tyreke Hudson and an all-day standoff with the suspect accused of shooting him.
We didn't know what we would find when we found him. There was potential to be other victims. There was a potential for him to assault our officers as well. So it was a very dangerous, very volatile, very fluid situation.
Police arrested 53-year-old James Verombeck on first-degree murder and other charges. Damaged windows at the apartment complex indicate how the SWAT team worked to get him into custody. During Verombeck's video bail review, we learned he may suffer from schizophrenia. He is on suicide watch, and at a hospital, he made admissions about killing a man. A judge ordered the suspect to remain held without bail. According to a court charging document, one witness told police he heard the shooting and then looked into the staircase and called to check on Mr. Hudson's condition, then saw a white male with long hair point a gun at him and say, "You're next." Court records also show the victim, worried about his safety, filed a petition for a peace order against Verombeck after a February 16th incident in which he claimed Verombeck said, "You knew this day was coming," as well as, "You know what you did." In the petition, Hudson wrote he didn't know what Verombeck was talking about, then claimed Verombeck gave him the death gesture using his thumbs across his throat. On February 19th, a judge denied the peace order request, saying the petitioner could not meet the required burden of proof. During the standoff, police at first were not exactly sure where the shooter was located. Then they pinpointed one apartment.
We cleared every other apartment in that building, and then when we were not able to gain entry into that one, it was kind of like a, if he's not anywhere else, he's got to be here.
Prosecutors also told the judge when Verombeck was arrested, he had a shotgun with him.
Now, a few months earlier, this young brother, Tyreke Hudson, tried to get a protective order or a peace order against this white boy, James Verombeck. Now, this white dude would randomly threaten him in the hallway of his apartment. One day, he told the brother, "You knew this day was coming." And when the brother was like, "What are you talking about?" the white boy was like, "You know what you did." Then he said the white boy gave him a death gesture, moving his thumb across his throat. So then this young brother, Tyreke Hudson, went down to get a restraining order or a peace order. But the judge, Davy Patterson Russell, denied this brother the peace order, saying he didn't have enough evidence. So then after the judge dismissed it because it wasn't enough proof, this brother Tyreke Hudson never said another word to this man. So then one day at random, this white dude, James Verombeck, ended up shooting his brother, killing him. One witness said when he heard the shot, he looked out and asked him was he okay, and he saw this white dude with a gun pointed back at him, telling him he's next. And now despite this brother not having enough proof for this judge, lost his life before he could get away from this white dude. And now people are calling for the judge to lose her job, but they gotta stay on code and protect her.
The Maryland judiciary won't give us a photo of Judge Davy Patterson Russell. The Baltimore City judge is serving on a temporary basis in Anne Arundel County as she awaits a ruling from the state's Court of Appeals. A commission tasked to oversee the courts recommended a 6-month suspension last year, citing her workplace conduct. It was on that temporary assignment in Anne Arundel County, Judge Russell reviewed a petition for a peace order in February.
I think if they would have gave him the protection order, that boy would still be alive.
TJ Hudson filed the order against his downstairs neighbor, James Verombeck, claiming he threatened him. But Judge Russell denied the order, citing Hudson could not meet the burden of proof. Monday, Hudson was killed, police say, by Verombeck in the stairway of their Glen Burnie apartment building.
I feel like they have failed my son. They failed me. He had a bright and promising future.
Hudson's mom and family now left wondering whether that order could have saved his life. Just 22 years old, Hudson was a recent college graduate who just started as a promising engineer with Northrop Grumman in Annapolis.
That could have saved his life had he been, given that restraining order and more action could have been taken. That could have very well saved this young man's life. But now he's gone, and somebody needs to be held accountable for that.
A Change.org petition is now up, started by friends in North Carolina pushing for Judge Russell to be removed, suspended, or forced to resign.
The courts in Maryland, somebody who is in positions of authority needs to answer questions to his family.
Now, they are still going to stay on code and protect this judge and hide this white woman pictures. But it turns out at the exact same time this judge was denying his brother requests, She was already being investigated for misconduct, and they recommended that she be suspended for 6 months. But now this brother Tyreke Hudson, who had just graduated college, had a good job in engineering, no criminal record, just getting his life started, and now it's over. Meanwhile, this thug, James Verombeck, had a long criminal record. He had domestic violence charges, reckless endangerment, he had a deadly weapons charge, disorderly conduct, and he was charged for having unlicensed firearms. But even with this white dude, they're still staying on code with him a little bit. Now this white dude who was armed and just killed somebody in cold blood had a nice long peaceful drawn out standoff, and the cop took time to debate him surrendering. And despite him being armed and just killed somebody, they were able to peacefully and safely go into his house and arrest him with no incident and take him to jail alive and well. And then they started talking about schizophrenia and mental illness and talking about he on suicide watch. But if he wanted to kill himself, he should have did it before he shot this brother. But they're already trying to pull the mental illness card, just in case somehow he gets off with this. This white dude, James Verombeck, did get charged. Unlike the white dude who shot Kevin Battle Sr., they didn't even arrest that white dude, Mark Jabin. But now with him, they're going to talk about how crazy he is. And he probably is crazy, but a lot of them are. Meanwhile, that code don't extend to a black cop like Muhammad Noor. All of a sudden, that code don't apply when you take the life of a blonde-haired white woman. And we already knew they were going to make Muhammad Noor pay.
We begin with some breaking news. For the first time, we're hearing from a member of the jury that convicted a former Minneapolis police officer of third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter today.
Muhammad Noor is going to prison for shooting and killing Justine Damond. And our Lou Bergoose just got off the phone with a juror minutes ago and tells us what they had to say. Lou?
Well, guys, this juror did not want his name or his voice used, but he explained how they made their decision. He says the prosecution won the case with their expert witnesses and with cross-examination of Noor and the defense expert. He says there were 2 holdouts on the manslaughter charge at first, but they changed their minds after about 90 minutes of discussion. The juror told me about Noor. I feel bad for the guy. I feel bad for his family. But we determined he committed a crime, and in the end, no one is above the law. If Harity had screamed gun or weapon or shoot or something like that, or even if he had saw the cell phone and mistaken it for a gun, we could understand it. But even if you have a split-second decision, you're still responsible for the decision you make. And it was high tension in the courtroom when that verdict today was announced.
I want to begin by extending my deepest sympathies to the family.
With his voice cracking, Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman reacted to a jury of 12, finding former Minneapolis police officer Muhammad Noor guilty of third-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter.
Today and over the last year, we have done our job and done it well. This is a solid jury verdict, and we believe it will be upheld on appeal.
When the judge's clerk read the verdict inside the courtroom, there was little outward reaction. Noor looked down and straight ahead. Justine Damond's sister-in-law gave Justine's fiancé Don Damond a squeeze, and they shared a smile. Justine's family stayed in the courtroom for nearly all the heartbreaking evidence in the trial. Her father, John, didn't miss a moment of it, sobbing throughout body camera videos that showed his daughter's last dying breaths. Ultimately, the jury believed the state, that Muhammad Noor acted without regard for human life, in a reckless or wanton manner, elements needed for third-degree murder, and that Noor acted with culpable negligence, the element needed for second-degree manslaughter. Last week, when Noor took the witness stand in his own defense, he testified, "I saw a female in a pink shirt with blonde hair raise her right arm. I fired one shot, and the threat was gone." Noor called it a split-second decision. But his partner, Officer Matthew Harity, who likely had a better view from the driver's seat, didn't see Justine raise her arm. All he could see was a silhouette, and he admitted it would have been premature for him to fire. Noor's attorneys argued that his use of force was justified because he thought it was needed to save his partner's life. The jury disagreed. After the verdict was read, Noor's attorneys asked that he be allowed to be free on bail until his sentencing date. But Judge Catherine Quainton said, based on the seriousness of the charges, he should be taken into custody. And the former officer was led out of the courtroom in handcuffs.
We wanted justice, and we felt justice was that he needed to go to prison for the crime he committed. Thank you very much.
Noor will be sentenced June 7th. He faces 10 to 15 years in prison under the Minnesota sentencing guidelines.
Well, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey responded to today's verdict in a statement that said, quote, "What matters most for Minneapolis is how we respond in the days and weeks ahead," adding that he will stand behind the city's police officers who are committed to improving community-police relations. And Police Chief Medaria Arredondo echoed that statement, saying that he will ensure his department learns from this case and does all it can to help communities heal. We also heard from the president of the Minneapolis Police Union, Bob Kroll, who released a statement saying, quote, "The Federation respects the legal process and the findings of the jury." Her father also spoke, saying the family is satisfied with the outcome of the case. Our Kent Erdahl is live tonight with more on their reaction to today's truly historic verdict. Kent?
Well, Julie, you could see and almost feel the weight that this verdict had on the family after they left court today during a news conference. Justine's father, as Lou mentioned, sat in court throughout every piece of this trial, often breaking down, and today he spoke first.
It's been a painful journey from July 15th, 2017 to today. Justine was killed by a police officer, an agent of the state.
Justine tried to help. She called the police department to report sounds of a woman in distress. But that night there was a tragic lapse of care and complete disregard for the sanctity of life.
The jury's decision reflects the community's commitment to three important pillars of a civil society: the rule of law, the respect for the sanctity of life, and the obligation of the police force to serve and protect. We believe this guilty verdict strengthens those pillars.
I want to thank Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman for recognizing how unjust this act was and by making a just decision to charge this case.
We hope this will be a catalyst for further change.
This case is about Justine, and Justine lived to teach us about love. She lived to teach us about our own human potential. In her life, she committed to transform humanity, and her legacy is continuing that work today.
Justine's father added that the family believes that despite this verdict, the police department actively resisted that decision as that investigation went on, actively resisted this investigation. Now that's something that will come up likely in the civil case that the family is now bringing forward, can now bring forward now that this decision has been rendered. And many believe that that civil case could lead to one of the biggest payouts in the city's history.
Now, we all knew that this was going to happen. This white woman snuck up on him in the middle of the night, knocking on his car door, acting suspicious. He feared for his life, so he had no other choice but to open fire. But right now, all that Blue Lives Matter rhetoric is completely out the window. They don't need a toxicology report. They don't need to know if she was on drugs. They're not trying to hear, "I fear for my life." One juror even said, "I could see if he mistook a cell phone for a gun. So if this white woman had a cell phone, it would have been okay to shoot her." But in this case, this juror said, even if you make a mistake, you're still responsible. And now, all of a sudden, no one is above the law. No one that shoots a blonde-haired, blue-eyed white woman anyway. All of a sudden, they understand how justice works. And they feel like this particular cop needed to go to jail for there to be justice. When Philando Castile died, he didn't say anything. When this white woman died, they fired the police chief, got rid of the mayor. They cleaned house. When Philando Castile got shot, oh, well, you know, these things happen sometimes. It's just unfortunate and a tragedy. But with this cop, Muhammad Noor, now they can say he committed a crime. Now they can say a cop deserved to go to jail. And the police union don't have anything to say, but we agree with this decision. And you know what? This woman family is still talking about that ain't enough. They're not talking about we forgive you. Now they're talking about pillars to a civil society, including rule of law, respect for the sanctity of life, and the obligation of the police force to serve and protect. Now the question is, who are they supposed to serve and protect? And to protect from whom? And they tell us right to our face. They can't be any more obvious. They are sending us a message. And it's not like they think they're lying. They really think they're justified to do what they do to us. But we have to stop wasting our time trying to explain something to them that they understand far better than we do. They are the ones that created this system. We have no other choice but to focus on ourselves. At the end of the day, we are all we got. They respond with a sense of urgency to maintain their position. We have to respond with even more urgency than they do to get out of the position that we are in. And when we do that, we will get to where we need to be.
I see what's going on, baby. This shit real at this point. I got this shit on camera. Who is that? He about to kill the boy. He gonna let the dog kill the boy. They can't get the dog off him. He let the dog get him. They called him before the dog got there. The boy finna die, dog.
And she's like really going ham right now. This me, she posing, my nigga. Like, this is crazy. She is like really, she said niggas is trying to bitch her. So look, she tagging Nipsey Hustle shit, my nigga. That's crazy. I don't know who Shorty is, but KK, I'm on Facebook. Yo, that's crazy. Or just don't mess his face up. Like, don't mess that. Fuck that.
He did do the face nice. I don't want to disrespect him. Like,
yeah, like
artist, he's lit. Like,
yeah, like that nigga word of mother, this shit is lit. But Shorty here saying niggas disrespect her, and she here tagging all this shit. We just asked her nicely, don't touch his face.
K-Y.
Yo, word of mother, like she came over here on some shit. She said, fuck everybody. Like, yeah, word of mother, my nigga. Look at this shit, my nigga. Like, she tagged this shit. This is crazy. Like, we just begged her, Shorty, please don't tag. Like, my nigga, look at this shit, my nigga. Not his face. Just don't do his face, my nigga. Just go do the other side. Don't do his face. Word of my mother, nigga, I ain't going to jail behind no crazy chick. These niggas on Facebook talking about some smacker.
Nah, I can't even do it like that.
You say you did that for Facebook?
nah, like, they were just talking shit about, like, the nigga shit on here.
Yeah.
So, and they were like, oh, that if somebody come and tag you, they about to shoot me, they about to stomp on my face, whether I'm a girl or not. So, where people at? I'm doing it.
I don't think it's worth that, though. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just not no bitch. Like, you're not about to say it.
Yeah, but what Nipsey deserve? He doesn't deserve it.
Harper, no him.
Nipsey Hussle fans were seething after a woman defaced a mural in Hartford, Connecticut, but cops are giving her the A-OK to do whatever she wants. It all went down at a skate park in Hartford over the weekend. Somebody had put up a mural for Nipsey Hussle. Obviously, the death of the rapper shook the entire country, the entire world, and even though Hartford's a long way from Los Angeles, they were still showing their love for him out there. Video went viral of the woman defacing the mural, spray painting a lot of not safe for work material over it, and apparently doing it to gain internet clout.
This me, she posing, my nigga. Like, this is crazy.
Fans wanted the woman to be criminally charged, but the cops put out a statement saying that she did nothing wrong. They explained that that skate park allows graffiti of all types and freedom of expression, and they said that many works of art are usually altered. Now, they didn't say that they are usually altered in the way that this woman altered the Nipsey Hussle mural, but it appears that what she did is protected. Luckily, fans jumped to the aid of the fallen rapper, and they have already fixed the mural. The woman has been identified and has taken down all her social media postings, and cops are urging people to show no violence to her if they see her.
Atheist, you need to go to fucking hell real fast. I don't need to know what I'm doing. You
Angry.
motherfucking piece of crap. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? What are you gonna do? What are you? You are so angry. You are so angry. Yeah, you're damn right I am. World star. Look at this. None of your business. What are you, Dr. Phil? They're taking him off should TV be. because he's fucked up. His little Barbie doll wife. What about you? You mad at everybody. None of your business. You're not my therapist. You need one, bitch, real soon. What do you need? You need a fucking therapist, and you need to suck dick, and you need a whole bunch of other things. I'm not going anywhere. Fuck you. Call a papa. I suck their dick. Motherfucking asshole. Get your phone, get your Apple and shove it up your ass, you ugly nigger motherfucker.
Oh man, what's up?
Give me my motherfucking sandwich. I haven't eaten all day. Is that your problem? Don't get in my conversation. I'm talking to him, and you're criticizing me about what I'm saying, and I wasn't even talking about this store. I was talking about a motel room. Suck this. How about that? You don't suck dick. Do you suck fingers?
Yeah, no problem. Is it dick
I
like
got 10 of them for you to suck. 10. Where did you grow up? Where did you grow up? In a trailer park? You trailer park nigga trash? Bitch, you the trailer park trash? You's a fucking hater. I'm going to tell you something. She's tearing your store up. Look at this angry ass. I'm not tearing any store up. I want my sandwich and I want motherfucking out of here. Bye. Ain't nobody stopping you from pay for this, Marshall, and get the fuck out of here. Marshall ain't paying for shit, you angry bitch. What do you know what do you know what he's Marshall's coming for? With us.
Yes.
How about that?
Good,
you can suck his dick. Never, baby.
It
won't take long. It's really little.
Oh,
you already know? No. You like niggas, don't you? That's why you fucking them. No. Yeah. I'm in love with Ron G. Who the fuck is Ron G? He must be the devil. A crackhead. Oh, is that your problem? Oh, we got plenty crack for you. I don't do jokes.
Oregano.
I do people. Where'd you get this ugly nigger from? So you a cannabis? You a cannibal?
Is it a cannabis?
She needs some cannabis. I'm hungry. I've been in this motherfucking store for half an hour. Can't you make a sandwich? Asshole! Suck this. How about this? Just go away from me. Excuse me. Excuse me. You're not getting through this way with your ass.
No.
I'm scared for you to walk past. Walk around. Get the fuck out of here.
Oh, wait a minute.
My bad, Mark.
I'm gonna put basic. You put that thing on Facebook.
You have nothing better to do than that?
Mom,
shut up your ass!
I'm sorry.
Get away from me.
No, she didn't. She didn't.
Did you get her away? What are you doing?
I
have the right to privacy in this country. You don't put me. You don't right to nothing. Not the night you not. You better take your motherfucking ass somewhere before you get your ass stomped on the ground. Legs and the big tits? You is jealous as hell. Jealous? Would you like some of these big tits? Honey, go ahead. I got a great set. Ew. Okay? Ew. I hate you. Good. You're ugly, you're a nigger, you're arrogant, bitch. And you're in my face from the minute I walked in this door.
Oh! Don't touch.
Stupid bitch. You lost your mind.
This happened here at Horace Mann Elementary School. We are talking about really young kids involved in this. Both Dyson's grandson and the other student, who's white, are in first grade.
He called him the N-word, he used the B word and the MF word, and then he says, I'm going to go home and get my father's gun and come back and shoot you.
You may recognize Michael Eric Dyson, a well-known author, Georgetown professor, and TV contributor. He's also a grandfather and was furious when he learned what 6-year-old Maxim went through at school.
When he said I got a gun, I got scared.
It happened in the lunchroom at Mann Elementary. Dyson says Maxim and the other student were rushing to be first in line.
Unfortunately, this represents for us the deep and abiding roots of white supremacy that are set loose in this country. How can a 6-year-old kid know to call his classmate the N-word?
He says he and his wife went to the school along with Maxim's dad and were surprised to learn what happened with the other student.
The child finished out the day, which is incredible to me.
A spokesman for D.C. Public Schools says that child was spoken to by the principal, and school officials are now determining discipline and scheduling a meeting with the child's parents. He says while the school believes a threat was made, it's still investigating whether there was a racial element. The Dyson family says this is especially difficult because they've been through it before.
It reminded me of my elder grandson, Mosi, who last year was also a victim of racial epithets.
He no longer attends Mann Elementary.
When Maxim felt that pain when he said all those bad words and all that aggression, I felt very bad for him that he had to go in that particular way. And I just felt mad that I had to go through that way too.
The spokesman for D.C. Public Schools says the school system does track incidents of hate and discrimination. We are working to get those numbers both for this year and prior years as well.
Everyone was coming up to me. It was like the talk of the school the rest of the day and the day after.
Juelz Trice is a shy 13-year-old who prefers to be out of the limelight. Recently, he was front row center when two staff members at Barry Miller Junior High did this, drew on his head for all to see as a form of punishment.
He came over and said, you have two options. You either can go to ISS or color it in.
Trice's parents tell me they were never notified and didn't know something was wrong until their son told them.
When it first happened, I was very upset because I didn't find out until after he got off the bus and he was getting inside the car and he was like, "Mom, look what they did to my head."
Pearland ISD's dress code does say, quote, extreme hairstyles such as carvings, mohawks, spites, etc. are not allowed. It does not say how to handle it if a student violates that. In addition to embarrassing Juelz, Dante Trice said they could have put his boy at medical risk by putting chemicals on open pores.
It was wide open because he had just got his haircut the day before, so it was wide open.
I reached out to Pearland ISD, and in a statement they admit, quote, a campus administrator mishandled disciplinary action and that what happened is not condoned by the district. The administrator allegedly behind it all is currently on administrative leave and further action is forthcoming.
They just telling us, you know, it's being handled, but nobody has said what is going on. That's all that they're giving us, haven't given us any other information at all.
I'm totally disappointed.
Tre che avete firmato l'accordo di pace.
And to the three of you who have signed the peace agreement,
vi chiedo come fratello,
I ask you as a brother,
rimanete nella pace.
Stay in peace. A process
che finisca bene.